Coming up on the dirty side of the track this week, Rob gets musical.
Actually, if you're skilled with a harmonica, I'd love a harmonica version if anyone out there is.
Brian makes this deep observation.
Oh, man.
And Perry can't be talking about the Ferrari, right?
I have to admit, every time I look round, every time I see it, there's a little part of me that just likes it a little bit more. And
Hey now, welcome to the Dirty Side of the Track, America's leading Formula One podcast. That's Rob, I'm Brian. It's cold in the States right now, unless you're in Florida, basically. How you hanging on over there, Rob?
Doing all right. We are battening down the hatches and waiting for Snowmageddon that apparently is coming Sunday, Monday, which by the time we publish this means today.
Don't two Pauls already. We already got one of those with Barry.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, hanging on there. Just loving looking at all the new liveries. Not so sure I love them all, but I'm still been loving looking at them all. There's a distinction there. So we will take a look at those today. We will pull apart the bones of all the cars that have come out. We've got Video Vault. We've got Cadillac Corner with no one sent me in a jingle to replace the abomination of last week. So I've been rogue on AI again, and we've got another flavor for you to play today that you haven't heard yet. So you're going to hear in real time. And then we're going to have our chat with Perry. Starts with a P. Perry. Not as I'm going to introduce him when you hear it. Stumble over it. And I think call him Berry and then correct myself instantly because my brain fogged over. I think it's the initials, the P and the B. And in my head, I was like, don't say Berry, don't say Berry, don't say Berry. And then, of course, I said Berry. So I'm sorry, Perry.
Yeah.
But
I didn't notice you do that, but I also know his name is Perry, so I didn't have a problem.
Well, you're just amazing. You should do the intros from now on.
I should. And I will introduce the news. Look at that, taking it right from you. So obviously, Livery Watch, round 2. We had a handful of drops over the last week. The first one was Haas. And I'm going to go first on this one. I like it. I mean, here's my struggle. It takes the same ingredients from last year's Haas and slightly rearranges them in terms of where the white, the red, and the black reside. But it works for me in a way that the lazy marketing folks at Haas want it to. I give it a 7. And so, again, it's not great, but it's better than it could have been. A 5 is very average. I give it above average. I give it a 7. And the GR, the Gazoo racing all over it, the Toyota stuff, it works. It just works for me. They didn't do a Ferrari where like HP has a big blue bump in the middle and it doesn't work. The Gazoo racing is black and red here, fits in with the colors. 7.
Yeah, I'm 7.5 in this bad boy. When it first dropped and I hadn't properly looked at it, I was like, oh, it's the same car. Same car, they've just changed sponsor. We haven't got MoneyGram now or whatever it is. We've got GR. And then I looked at it, I was like, hang on, there's lots of things about this that suddenly stand out that just make it look so much better than last year's Haas, even though despite this fact, like you say, it's almost the same ingredients. So I made a very highbrow joke of it's the same but totally different. It's Schrodinger's livery. It's, I think well done. Well done, Haas. I really like that, and I think it's going to look great out on track now that we don't really have any white cars left because,
you could say the
decided
RB
not to bother.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Audi. The livery reveal was one of my favourites in terms of I always like nice touches. So when Hulk was on the big screen behind the car and leant down forwards and pulled the cloth, and they had it perfectly synchronized in the showroom area to have that cloth come off at the same time, perfect execution. The livery is a 3. I think it's rubbish. I think it's absolutely rubbish. I think when we saw the render come out when they launched Audi and they showed us that kind of like grey car with a bit of red on the back and everybody went, that's just Audi teasing the colour scheme. It's not going to look like that, said everyone. And then all they did was go, actually, should we just slap some sponsors on the grey now and call it a day? And it's just so uninspired. I wanted more from Audi. I don't... You're going to say you love it now, aren't you?
No, I'm not. Do you remember there was a Friends episode where Rachel tried to make a trifle, but her pages got messed up and there was like...
Beef. Good.
Yeah, it's Joey, that's what this is.
Yeah.
Front, good. Back, good. Put them together, bad. And so, like, that's what happened here. The front is good. The back is okay. And then you put them together, and it just felt like, to me, like you were rebuilding the channel, and someone started on one end and someone started on the other, and they met nowhere. And like one's in the Mediterranean and one's in the Adriatic. Like, what happened? 4.5. I still go to 4.5 because I like both halves. So like,
okay. The weird thing is their merch looks totally amazing. If you've seen the Audi stuff, it's the reveal with Chef's Kiss. The merch is Chef's Kiss. The car they forgot about, and I think at the last minute somebody went, "Were we supposed to repaint that and redesign it?" I was like, "Oh crap! It's time to slap the sponsors on. Go."
Well, Nimrod was the first on the Discord who highlighted the front and back difference, which is pretty obvious, but still Nimrod called it out, so shout out. Totally agree with you. And then we went to Mercedes, and a lot of people with a lot of comments. I wanted to like this for so many reasons. Similar ingredients that we've seen. The top view's kind of neat. I personally think those little lines on the side are a little tiny bit of an homage to AMG because it's like if you took
tiny homage, it is their logo because they had to come out and define that. Everyone came out and said, "Is this Adidas? Are they trying to tie in Adidas?" And they're like, "No, they're three stripes. This is from the AMG."
Right,
and AMG
but it doesn't.
Posted it as well.
I have an AMG. I have the logo. Doesn't look like that. Like they really tried. They like shrunk half of it, and I recognize it has to fit on the car. But when people don't even notice, that's what it's for. Yeah, then you went too far.
No, well, I disagree because the view from above, they've taken a homage to the AMG logo, but what they've done is lean massively into the name of Silver Arrows, and it is an arrow from above. It's got the shaft of the arrow, and then it's got the feathers. Basically, you look at it from above, that is a Silver Arrow,
and it's not an AMG logo because it's an arrow.
But it's homage to. They don't need to be so. I know you need it in simple terms as a simple American to have it laid out as exactly as the logo, otherwise you can't see it.
If people think
brilliant.
It's an
I love this.
then they know it's not an AMG. I give it a 6.208.
Oh, this is one of my favorite liveries so far.
What is
love
wrong
this Mercedes.
with you? Something is broken in your brain.
No, I think this is one of my favorites so far.
You got problems with your cones and rods.
If the red. Are you making another
Seinfeld?
Another sitcom reference there, right?
2 for 2.
But the Red Bull with the blue, if the blue really is the blue, then I think the Red Bull probably takes it at the moment for me from what I've seen so far. But this one is second then, if the blue is the blue. Yeah, I love it. I think they've taken a bit of a tribute to everything they've had so far. The black car, the Patronus green, the Silver Arrows, they've really leaned into. I know we're not going to see it from above like this much in the season, but I love inclusion of the Silver Arrow slap bang into the livery. I think that's chef's kiss. Well done.
Well, I give 6.208 because that is the displacement of a 6.3 liter AMG V8. See, there's thought behind everything. After you on the Ferrari, my friend.
Oh God!
I'll let you go first here.
God, I absolutely share Matt's reaction from Matt and Tommy. If you've seen the live reaction video they did to this, the reveal starts off. This is the Joey thing again. Black, good. Red, good. White, what the hell are you doing? It's right. When I go back and everybody says, "Oh, but Ferrari have had white before." Yes, they have. But the way they've incorporated before, especially at the Lauda car and some of those other cars, was the white was just actually a way to help accentuate the Italian flag. Because what they did was they'd put the white piece, they'd put the green and red around it, and then use the white strip through the middle to be the flag, and then the body was to use the driver's number. So you got this really nice styled Ferrari with the Italian flag, the number on the top, and it looked good. But they didn't keep it all the time. The only time we've had it for the last 3 years running is an excuse to make an real estate on the car so we can slap a big, massive, ugly HP logo on there. And I get it. And I get it. I know they pay the money. I know they need to. I think it was it Lee on the Discord that linked the video of DHL, that Eddie Jordan convinced them to change their logo to yellow so it would match the car. So there actually is precedent here of like, if you're a big name and you want to be on an F1 car, maybe there's some kind of compromise you could do. There was a render doing the rounds online that if HP just went red logo, white font, they could actually, everyone would still know their Hewlett-Packard. Everyone would still recognize HP, the logo. And then guess what? They could actually give us the blue car that they've been promising us forever as a special livery. And it could be HP blue. And no one would care. Just the white bit ruins it for me. And I think it might have been Nimrod as well that was commenting on the Discord of the T-cam shot from the top of the Ferrari. It just looks white. It's like, and he says that's a ridiculous amount of white in shot for a red car.
Totally agree. I don't hate it as much as you. I don't like the way the white in those old historic Ferraris kind of in the past was like the driver tub area, like you say, and then the flag around, and it worked better than this. This feels like they started with a white car, and they're like, well, our Ferrari red this year is a little lighter, and everyone goes, cool, cool, cool. And then we're gonna have some black on there, like nice, black and red will be good. And then they start painting the
back
white
wing being black again is awesome.
Huge. So for the second time this episode, YouTube's gonna. I have a Ferrari on my desk, and it's got the black rear.
Yeah.
With the yellow. Love that. My point is, if they had finished and put more red on, if they'd continued with the red paint over the white areas, I'd have loved it. And if they made it white so that the HP logo stands out, I'm disappointed for whatever reason. And someone and I reused this, but someone online said when Charles and Lewis are standing next to each other with their big HP button in the middle of their fire suit, it looks like it says "help, please," and they can just push it on each other. Like, we need new car, new race engineers, help, please. So yeah, I give it a solid 5 for me. It's bad, but it could be worse. It's just I just don't like part of it. It's style choice.
If I scroll down on our notes so that I can only see the bottom half of the car, it actually hurts me more because I look at it and think, what could have been?
Right, that's my point.
I love the new red, and the black in the front and back is fantastic, and that white has just been poorly executed. I'm not against HP being on there as a blue logo. There's just a way of finding space for it where it doesn't look so crap. Anyway, next up was Alpine. I'll let you go first on this one, but what I will want to say is that I love an old school reveal where this is the polar opposite to Audi. So Audi went with the big, fancy, huge Hulk on a screen, and he virtually pulls off it. They went old school Alpine. They had black cloth or whatever it was over the car, and they got both the drivers to come out and lift it up and peel it back together. Old school reveal. Love it.
I think that's great. And I will say I think the livery is great. Someone did a compare of Alpine over the last, since they've been Alpine. 6 years, 5 years? What are we talking since Renault? And so the view that I like is that last year they took the colors from last year, the blue and the striking pink, and they kept it. They just kind of, for me, centered the BWT logo on the side pod or whatever we're calling those this year. And I love it. Like, I'm all for it. I thought it was good last year. I thought it was good this year, but I can't go real high on the score because this is the closest carbon copy in my mind year over year. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. I still like the car, but we really didn't do a lot from last year.
So I'm going to call you hypocrite as I score this highly, because Red Bull was almost identical car. They just changed the blue and you love it.
I think it's not identical. I think the
it is identical.
No, the blue is makes different. It so much.
So the blue's different here. If you look at what they've done brilliantly here, and I thought you said this to Perry, so actually maybe you're going to contradict yourself in the same episode.
Then people better pay attention and see if I do.
Is that if you look at these side by side, they've taken the blue of last year's Alpine and they've darkened it. And by darkening the blue, the pink pops even more than it did last year.
Yes.
So the overall, so now you get a much more dynamic contrast between the dark blue and the
Fine, I'll go up to 7. Pink. You convinced me. I'm going 7.
Well, this is your words that we're probably going to hear again in about 10 minutes' time.
I liked it then. I like it now. 7.
Yeah, I love this one. This is probably tying with the Haas. Both of the Haases are my Schrodinger's liveries. They're identical as they were last year, but somehow completely different. And I love them better than I like last year's equivalent. So I think we've got a solid set of cars to look at so far, other than that Audi.
The Audi's my lowest, agreed.
The bar is set really low for Cadillac. Like, if they want to come in with it doesn't need to be an absolute zinger, but it's going to have to be pretty bad to be worse than the Audi, I think.
I mean, do you think there's a chance that someone walked into Cadillac and they said, hey, I got an idea. We're going to do a Wonder Bread situation like Ricky Bobby, and we're gonna put together a car that is just littered with sponsors, American style, every square inch of logo, a decal. We're selling the whole thing, and it's going to be a Wonder Bread special. I mean, that would actually make me proud, but I don't think that's what we'll see.
So what have we got left? We got Cadillac on Super Bowl Sunday. We've got Aston Martin. Who else haven't we seen yet?
Williams.
Is this Williams? We'll cover them in a minute as well. We're not going to see them either.
Right, exactly. And we kind of saw the car sideways as they were rolling it somewhere, so we kind of have a feel for what some of it might be.
Are those the 3? Who are we missing? Feels like we're missing someone. Like, really obvious, but oh well. It's those 3 at least. Right, okay, so other news, away from liveries. Red Bull appoint Dan Fallows as technical director. He had that same role at Aston, and before he was kind of, I don't know if he was booted out, but anyway, he moved on in 2024. I think he was on, I don't know if he was on garden leave or whatever, but he's reappeared over at Red Bull. They're assembling themselves a nice little team as well, kind of in the, I guess, the post Horner Helmut Marko era. They seem to be coming in the right direction. Then we had the video of Ferraris breaking down on track, which threw the internet into an absolute meltdown, including me, when I was like, oh my God, we're already abandoning that this is going to be our year and we haven't even started. But then it was reported, not just by Ferrari, because of course they're going to say this, but by all reputable journalists in this space as well. I went, no. Both cars got pushed back. Both cars, rather than do the in-lap and waste valuable kilometers, because they're severely limited on the filming days as to how many kilometers they can do, that after they came past and finished their lap, they basically stopped the car, ran out with the jacks and wheeled it back to save whatever it was. I mean, I don't know what half a lap is, an in-lap at that place, but if you've got the data that you need and you want to go again and you're getting close to your limit, you know what? It just makes sense. And as boring as that is, it usually is the boring answer that's the right answer. So
Totally. It usually is the boring answer. And you know what? They had a car to shake down. So once Williams was like, yeah, we're not going to be able to make it, I'm like, you know what? Then fine. If Ferrari, it was a shakedown. Doesn't always work. Caddy, we heard from Pit Lane Paul, they had time lost during shakedown. Whatever. You know what? I'm not getting too worked up about it, but we've already talked about Williams. They will not be at the Barcelona testing in a couple of days here. And they're hoping to make it to the 2 rounds in Bahrain as they continue to work on the car. They said, taking the decision not to participate in next week's shakedown test following delays in the FW48 program as we continue to push for maximum car performance. What else would you push for?
we could have turned up and run the thing with 3 wheels, but we decided against that.
Right. The engine hasn't actually connected to the drive shaft, so there's no
He's going to Flintstone his way around.
Yeah, exactly. We got Carlos and Alex out there pedaling through the floor. But actually, that is part of it, right? They've also said they didn't clear the crash test as part of it as well, so that came out. So a lot of work to do at Williams. I'm hoping they're burning the midnight oil.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think that rounds out what we found. Time to crank open the video vault, Brian.
Let's do it. Rob, the first one. You found your way into the vault this week, even though I'd left it locked. What's the first one that you added?
I mean, technically I didn't. This is kind of like an Ocean's 11 style where, Lee from Discord dropped me down on a wire. I didn't find this by myself. It was on the watch-worthy videos section of the Discord. And if you're not on there, come along because you're missing out on little gems like this ahead of hearing them on the pod. So yeah, it's the small town building Cadillac's first Formula One car both on the General Motors and the Cadillac channels. 12 minutes long. The F1 nerd in me loved this. If you want to come and see interviews with Checo and Valtteri, don't watch this because I don't believe they actually figure in the entire 12 minutes. It's all about the team. They're at Silverstone. They go into the factory. They meet all the various people that are kind of just tasked with getting that Cadillac on the grid in Australia. And it's not flashy. It's not over the top. It's just like a documentary walk around and just introduced to the team. And I loved it. I'm here to drink in this nerd stuff like this, so go watch it.
Check it out. That's awesome. If you do want to see interviews with Valtteri or hear them, you should just listen to us because...
This is Valtteri Bottas, and you're listening to the dirty side of the track.
Okay, anyway. All right, I haven't checked that out, so I will look forward to watching that one. The one I added, because it was kind of a crazy week, is less topical and more just fun. The Formula One quiz. How much do you know about F1 on the F1 Trivia 40 Questions Sports Quiz channel? 11 minutes. I took this last night. I missed 2. So you feel free if anyone's bored, want to go out there 11 minutes, see if you can beat the Sapman. I missed 2. I will be honest, there were a couple others where I had to guess, where I narrowed it down to 1 or 2 answers, like 2 answers of the 4, and I basically had
it's multi-choice, is it?
Multi-choice. Okay. I had 50-50 shot. And so I still missed 2. I think I could have done better if I'd really focused. But it was last night, Friday night, and I may have had a couple beverages as I was doing this.
So you got 38 out of 40 is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't beat yourself up about that. I think that's pretty good. What I also think is pretty good, but first you've got to shut the vault before we forget.
We shall do so.
what I also think is pretty good is the new Cadillac Corner
Oh, God.
jingle. So again, actually, we need to say this because it's a long time since we did it. So back in the day, when we started this pokey little pod, we've always done SAP stats,
Yep.
and we threw out the request to anybody that's musically natured to make us a SAP stat jingle, and we had a whole heap of them come in, and we play them from time to time, and it was brilliant. We got people sending in their little musical creations. So I know we kind of rely a lot on Andy, our friend, very talented musician, to send us in jingles. But if you want to better the two AI-driven Cadillac Corner jingles, the one we heard last week, which apparently we maybe should have lowered the volume on. We've had some feedback that potentially...
Well, you send them
It
to
was-
me, and then I don't know what I'm doing. You just say, play this. I don't know. I haven't heard it.
So anyway, let's hear this week's attempt at Cadillac Corner.
And I'll try to watch the volume, everybody. Sorry.
It's Cadillac Corner. It's Cadillac Corner.
No. But I did one
Hey.
too. Are you ready for mine?
Oh,
My AI
yeah,
jingle?
yeah.
That's surprising
Yeah,
you
go for
now.
Cadillac Corner, let's hit the scene. F1 team. Cadillac.
Sorry.
Keep going.
A little extra.
I
there.
will admit that I did try to make a slap house one, but the tool I used just
Udio
really
doesn't
didn't
know what
understand.
slap house
Udio
is.
didn't know
Yeah.
what slap house was, and they were awful. They were worse than. So that was American bluegrass, apparently.
I actually preferred mine over yours, but that's okay.
Well, yeah, but you like those kind of riffs.
Rap
Go on,
and
do your
hip-hop
youth,
type things.
do your youth speak again.
No, because then you're going to use me in the intro.
Right.
All right.
You
We
know
opened
my
Cadillac
plan.
Corner with 2 jingles. Why don't you tell us what's been going on?
So yeah, obviously, as they're getting ready for the season, Graham Loudon, the team principal, was being interviewed, and he said they had in excess of 140,000 job applications as part of putting the team together. He said, "We advertised 595 positions. We had and acknowledged 143,265 applications." Said it's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. We then shortlisted 9,051 people. We interviewed just over 6,500, and we hired 520 by December 31st. So they're currently like 75 positions short at the moment. So if you want a job in Cadillac and you can work out what positions were still open, then go for it.
Rob, I have something to admit.
That's insane.
It is insane. I have to admit this, though. 143,000 job applications. I was probably 103,000 of them myself. I didn't get any.
And then we heard Paul giving his opinion about what success would look like, and he just said, like, even if they finished 21st and 22nd, like, just finishing in Australia will be a success. Just getting to the grid and starting the race is like success. And they've asked Loudon about the race one targets and said, well, when we look at things, we have to look at things that we can control ourselves. We want to execute well as a team. But nobody really sees that externally, whether we've executed well or not. One of the things we often said is the first target is to earn the respect of the other teams. We respect them, rightly so, but the first target for us is to compete with them. And we also want to contribute. I think we've got a massive opportunity to take the sport to more and more fans, and we want to contribute to that as well. So a very politically correct way of almost saying, I think what the same thing Paul was, is that we just want to turn up.
Right.
And we don't want to be cool runnings laughed at with our dodgy little bobsled that doesn't go anywhere.
They don't want. They also don't want to be 107% of the fastest quali lap, where someone has to say, "Should we let them run?"
Yes.
So like that's. I think you're right. I think Paul's right. It makes sense, right? First year, brand new, whole establishment, forks and knives need to be bought. You know, the whole thing is fresh, and we're getting started. I think just not being an embarrassment, not messing up people's races, not getting in the way, and then eventually, being able to compete for positions in the midfield. I think that's really what they're shooting for. And I'm optimistic. I really am. I guess, they say they want to bring more fans into the sport. I do too. And I still think the friggin' Apple subscription in the States with our first team, it's going to be rough. I think it's going to limit the amount of casual fans who wander in unless they already have Apple TV. I know that may sound... I don't know. I just struggle with that. When it was free on ESPN, and I know people don't do cable anymore and younger fans don't do cable, but if you're a sports fan, that's kind of a prerequisite often for becoming an F1 fan. You had ESPN in some form or flavor. You could stream it somewhere.
Yeah.
Now you have to have Apple TV in the States, And not everybody does. I know a lot of people do, and everyone comes to me, oh, I have it. But I've looked at the subscription numbers. It's not as ubiquitous as Netflix or Prime. And so it will limit the casual fan who wanders in and says, I'd like to give this a try. That's my worry about F1 in the States.
It's a very deep thought. I need to bring it back up to the shallow levels, which was that the final thing we have in Cadillac Corner this week was there was a picture doing the rounds of Bottas and Zhou back together in their Cadillac merch, which on the YouTube version will be appearing between me and Brian right now. Which, by the way, if you are on the YouTube version, then just click that like and subscribe. We're really, really bad at remembering to remind people to do that. So like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell that friend to tell 10 friends. There we go.
Subscribe especially, but please, it's not going to hurt your algorithm. Just do it. Thanks.
Right. Okay. So I guess we're not playing the Cadillac Corner jingles to close us out again until we get a proper one. So if you do, find yourself wanting to create a Cadillac Corner jingle, which you think will nicely set up this little feature, then it's dirtysideofthetrack@gmail.com if you want to send in any entries that you could come up with. If it's just you playing a kazoo and then shouting Cadillac Corner, that's fine as well. I promise you, within limits, as long as you keep it clean, anything that gets sent in, we will play. There you go.
Okay.
Well,
I'm going to make my own with the kazoo. Cadillac Corner, there's no Christian Horner.
There we go. That's fine. We would play that. If you're skilled with a harmonica, I'd love a harmonica version if anyone out there is. I can't play those things. Just blow into them and it's noise. Anyway, let's forget that and go on to this week's guest. So we got in touch with Perry over on, both on Threads and the Discord, and we had a fantastic chat with him. So let's cue that up now and take a listen.
Box.
Right, well, this week we are making it a Threads hat trick. We're not making it a Lizzie hat trick, but this week we will welcome Perry to the dirty side of the track. Hey, Perry, how you doing?
Hey there. Hey now, even.
Yes.
I can make Lizzie my middle name if it needs to. It was Liam before, but with, a few letter changes. Yeah, it's Perry Lizzie Brown now, but I'm very well. How are you guys?
Oh, we're fantastic. Thank you for doing this. I got to also say, I have a ton of fun trading notes with you on Discord. And so just a pub for the Discord server, you can find awesome people like Perry out there. We always talk about different things. And the liveries have been taking our attention a lot recently, and I appreciate the banter back and forth. So welcome, Perry.
Yeah, it's great. It's great back and forth, as you say, on Threads or on the Discord. It feels like a tighter knit group on the Discord, doesn't it? It's a great bunch of people on there. You give regular shout outs, so it's worth getting involved and getting in it. I'm doing all the work for you, but yeah, it's a great community.
Totally.
Well, now we should do the work and get to know you because, as you may be aware, DRS is dead, and now long live the Dirty Side Fastest Lap. So. We are going to spin the wheel for you to find out which track fastest lap is going to be your timer for this quiz. So have you got the roulette wheel ready, Brian?
Always. It is right here.
Spin her up.
Here we go. Fourteen
this year. The 14th Grand Prix will be the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. And oh dear, that's a short one. We got 1 minute 12 for you, Perry. So Brian, you're gonna have to ask quickly, Brian. So I'm gonna rack up 1 minute 12.
Questions and quicker answers.
Yeah, Lee even gave me grief on the Discord too that I don't go fast. So this is I'll do my best, Perry. Me and you, buddy. We got this.
We'll go for it. Let's do it.
Are you ready, Perry?
Very. Let's do it.
Here we go then. In 3, 2, 1, begin.
Perry, the first poster you had on your bedroom wall.
I think it was Batman Forever.
Nice. Best F1 driver on the grid currently.
Max Verstappen.
Best young driver in F1.
Does Oscar Piastri count?
Sure.
Yeah, we love that.
What's your favorite cheese?
I don't like cheese.
Oh, that's a valid answer. I don't know if we've had that one yet. I like it. Is it GIF or JIF? Now, this one you can get wrong.
GIF.
Thank you very much. If you were in the pit crew, what tire would you change?
Front left.
What's your favorite livery of all time?
7-Up Jordan.
Yes.
191.
Yes.
Love it. Speaking of all time, best driver all time.
Fangio.
Wow. All right. I like this. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Sleep in or up early?
Or sleep in.
What's
10
the
seconds.
best? What's the best thing to do on a rainy day?
Sleep in.
He's just reusing. What's your favorite non-motorsport sport?
Football.
And we're done. And I didn't say who set the fastest last year, so you just did 1 minute 12, the same as Oscar Piastri did at Zandvoort.
Best young
last year.
driver.
So, yeah,
There
look
we
at
go.
that. So, digging in there, you were very quick on the front left tyre. Have you given that some thought, or was it just a snap judgment? Because the way you were all in there was great.
Apparently it was just right there at the front of my brain, ready to go, front left tyre. Probably the one that, if it's going to go wrong, is going to go wrong, so I might as well jump in and get it wrong, right?
Love
It
it.
always seems to be a front tyre, doesn't it, that goes wrong.
It does. Or the jack signal. Question for you. Fangio, best of all time. Like very little hesitation. Like you thought for a second and bang, Fangio. I like that. Tell us what led you there.
I just think it was a very different time when they were racing back then, and drivers didn't survive many seasons, let alone go on and win 5 championships. And obviously, I know we've seen Hamilton do 7, we've seen Verstappen get 4. They're winning more championships now, so it's easy to go for like recency bias. But I just think it was such a different sport when you're sort of pioneering. You've got a team made up of 3-4 people, and you're like one of the engineers. I just think the driver took a lot of the trait, but I think the driving was sort of a smaller part of it. So to win 5 championships and for that record to stand for so long, that's
Love it. That's a great answer. And I got
It
one
really
more, Rob.
is.
Sorry, one more.
Oh.
You said the Jordan 7-Up, Jordan, right, as your favorite livery. That's fantastic. We did
Yes.
last February, so we're coming up on a year. We did the best livery bracket, and it got knocked out by the Lotus John Player Special from like the late 70s. The black, the gold. Which would you have voted? Would you have definitely? I mean, you said it's your favorite. Would you put it through over the Lotus, the John? So there's no other one that you didn't think of, like the McLaren MP44 or 48 with the red and white. I can't tempt you.
He's 7-Up all the way. 7-Up all
There's
the
a
way.
lot of there's so many good liveries, aren't there? And I don't know if it's just the car that it was that Jordan was such a pretty Formula One car that I think the livery's quite basic, but I just think the two of them combined was so good.
I think you're right. I was just
the
trying to
Lotus-
change your answer. I was just trying to see if you were influenceable.
I guess your vote was the Lotus then, by some chance.
No, actually, in that regard, Lotus, the John Player Special, and the 7-Up, I would have said 7-Up.
Oh, okay. Well, the right
Point
answer.
John Player. Mine didn't win. I think, the Senna McLaren one. Mine is still the Nigel Mansell Williams, the Camel blue, and that's. But the question I was asking you is because obviously quite a few little nods to the past there. 7-Up, Fangio. When did you get into Formula One? What's your origin story? How did you find your way into Formula One?
Oh, it's really boring, unfortunately. I wish I could say it was through a Netflix documentary that dragged me in. The good answer. No, unfortunately, just my dad was a fan since he was 11 years old, so it was on in the house. And for about the age of 6, 7, 8, I've just done the 6, 7 thing. From the age of like 6 or 7, I was watching Formula One and really getting into it. And just absolutely got hooked on it from a young age, got into it, just started watching it and just never let go. And that was around 1996, 1997, watching Williams back then as it was.
I'm just going to say, you're doing yourself an injustice there by saying it's the boring answer. I think, A, there is no wrong way to get into this sport, but B, the vast majority of people like me and you maybe that grew up in that era in the UK, Sunday afternoon, after your Sunday lunch, your dad probably puts it on the TV, and you sit and watch cars go around a track. And I think that was a way in for a hell of a lot of people, and I'm not counting it as boring.
No, it feels like, as you said in last week's episode with Lizzie, that there's a lot of gatekeeping that goes on with, oh, well, you don't know Formula One if you didn't get into it and sit there and watch it. And I remember at school, being like one of the few people that liked Formula One and got very segregated as a result, like had to go through the hardship of being a Formula One fan. Now it's like really cool and popular. So it was a different time, wasn't it? But yeah, most people only knew it through like word of mouth, or as I say, like a parent, a mum or dad that watched it, or a brilliant uncle that came round and demanded that the Formula One be shown. We had less fans, but it's a much better place now, for having it like opened itself up and trying to get new fans in. So I'm with you. Welcome them in. Don't stand and gatekeep. Answer their questions. Drag them in. Get them on board, and let's get more fans. Let's keep going.
Totally agree. I remember, and I'm happy I don't have to do it anymore here in the States, when someone asked me what I like, and I'd say Formula One, and they go, "What's that?" I go, "It's like IndyCar, but European." And I don't have to say that anymore, which is great. The Formula One movie actually just nominated for a bunch of awards, so we'll see if it wins any. Plan C for champions. We'll see if that happens. But anyway, so you're wearing some McLaren merch. That is your team now?
Yeah. Yes, I sort of alluded earlier. I always joke that before I supported a team, I was against Ferrari. Sorry, Rob, I'm seeing the Ferrari.
Right,
Brian,
stop recording. Stop recording, Brian.
So, my dad, as I say, was a Ferrari fan from when he was 11, so I was watching along. But my young brain couldn't comprehend that you had the supercar producer of Ferrari in the left corner, and you had teams that were like Hondas and Renaults fighting against them. It didn't feel right in my head. I was like, but Renaults just make like normal cars, and they've got to turn up at Formula One and race against this supercar manufacturer. That doesn't seem right. Then it was cemented in my head when you hit the wrong part of him, my friend, in 1997. I was fully on board with Williams, and then they went and turned their car red, and I couldn't tell the difference between a Ferrari and a Williams, so I had to go elsewhere, and that's how I ended up with McLaren and have stayed there ever since. And I always count Williams as my second team, but yeah, McLaren now is the team.
So then, with the McLaren passion for a while now, better teammate pairing, and I'm going to leave it vague in terms of what better means. Carlando or Lando and Oscar? I'll let you explain the rationale for the winner.
I think Lando and Oscar are better pairing competitively. They push each other, and Lando's said as much that Oscar's really had to make him step up a gear. For the fun, yeah, Carlando.
Totally. Oh.
Now, this is probably going to be a little bit out of sync when the episode gets stitched together, because me and Brian will probably already have talked about it, but we haven't talked about it yet. I'm doing a pit lane pool time travel here. A lot of liveries have dropped, and a bunch over the last couple of days. Which one's your favourite? What have we seen so far? We've seen Haas, we've seen Audi, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Alpine, I think.
And don't forget the first couple.
Oh, sorry. The first, what do we see first?
Red Bull, RB.
Red Bull and Racing Bulls. There we go. So what's Perry's favourite from that list so far?
Well, I do like a blue car. So it's between the Red Bull and the Alpine, I think. I do like that combination. I know it gets a lot of hate online, but that Alpine with the blue and pink, I think looks fantastic. And this year they won't be able to strip away most of that blue and turn it into black and pink like they did a few years ago.
55%'s got to be painted.
That's it. And I'm with you guys on who's going and round to all the garages and measuring all the paint. But I do have to say, I was really glad, as you say, on the Discord, getting involved and saying, like, before the launch in Detroit with the Red Bull and Racing Bulls, I just said Racing Bulls got to stick much the same, which they did, but a slight downgrade. And I said, I just want something different from Red Bull. And boy, did they deliver. And my horrible colleague, who's a Liverpool fan and a Red Bull fan, who sits near me, he's had it on his screen. And I have to admit, every time I look round, every time I see it, there's a little part of me that just likes it a little bit more and goes, no, I need the McLaren launch now so I can combat that and get some sanity and some neutrality back in my life.
At least you got the you still have the unknown of looking forward to the McLaren launch, whereas I just have to sit there and go, well, the Ferrari sucks, so I guess I'm going to have to admit that the Red Bull looks better. So
Now, Rob, do you really think, and again, we'll have probably talked about this a little bit about 20 minutes ago, do you really think the Ferrari sucked? Or are you just saying that because they stopped it on track and then said they ran out of mileage?
Well, they did run out of mileage, and we'll have already discussed that 20 minutes ago. But yeah, I just don't like this. That white section is just out of place. Last year we mocked it, saying that they looked like they just one of those cars where you couldn't get the right body panel and the right color that you wanted, so they just grabbed a white one and put an engine cover over that was white. So this year they've just gone, well, to avoid that, let's just put a little bit of a blended line around there so that it doesn't look like that. But anyway, we're not here to discuss this because we'll have already done that. So let's get back to
Can
Perry.
I just say, Perry, totally agree with you on the Alpine. Like the pink last year was bright as it is now. But because of the difference in like the side pod and where they put the BWT, it feels even better than last year. More electric somehow than last year. So I'm totally with you with the blue and the pink offset. I really like it. So I'm a fan as well. So I just wanted to before we moved on, I wanted to say agreed.
Well, I'm going to stay on the liveries. What are you hoping for from the McLaren? I mean, is it just more of the same with a slight tweak, or are you really hoping they do? Because I saw all the Williams were running a competition for. It wasn't going to be the livery for the whole season, but they had some kind of fan voted ones for some specials, and that looks sweet. The one that won it, whatever it was called, Flow State or something. What are you hoping for the McLaren?
I do quite like the Papyron Black. I'd like them to do something different. They went for a few years with blue on the car, with different patterns and changing it up and just trying something different. It doesn't have to be bold. It doesn't have to be very different. But, we've had 2 years where they literally came out, launched the 2025 car and said, look, 2024 worked well. It's the same. It's exactly the same. Just something slightly different would suit me. Different shapes. It's a different car shape. Just try something different. And obviously with this MasterCard deal that they've now taken on, I expect MasterCard will want to up their sponsorship on the car, so make the livery work around that, I guess. But just as long as the papaya hasn't gone, and I'm sure Zach Brown won't have done anything crazy and got rid of that just yet.
Do you think there's a chance they could do me a favor, and if the papaya were to disappear, we could go back to the Senna Monaco version, because that was just straight fire, and I'm not saying that because it's on my desk at all times.
It was sweet, wasn't it? It looked so good. When they alluded to it, I think everyone said, I hope they go for I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say cigarette sponsors, but the one that starts with M, the Marlboro livery, then it sort of teased that. Everyone thought it's going to be red and white, and then it wasn't. It was actually like painted like the Senna colours, the Brazil colours, and it just looked stunning, didn't it?
Oh, man. Let me try that one more time instead of just making random sounds. I get very excited by certain things. Certain liveries really move me. That's one, and the Haas first Sakura, the Japanese one last year. And there's there's a video to it. I've watched it 100 times. Rob yells at me sometimes. He's like, well, you're in a mood. Why don't you go watch the Haas video? And he knows.
Just calm you down, just like get you back into a calm state.
Anyway,
so apart from liveries for McLaren, what do you hope to see on track? And I know that's a really stupid question, most likely to ask, but when you look at the two guys going into the season again, are you expecting more of the same, of it's equal number ones until one of them proves that they're not? Do you see one being favoured over the other? What do you think we see from the McLaren boys this season?
Oh, that's a good question. I honestly think that they've played it equal forever. Like, since I've been a fan, they've always gone into every season, every race, said, look, you're two equal drivers until one of you mathematically out of the running. And that was to a fault, almost. We saw in 2024, Lando was closer to chasing Verstappen down. And so many, especially Lando fans, saying, well, why aren't they telling Oscar to drop back? He's got another 40 points behind him. Yes, he's mathematically in, but get your money behind Lando and he can give a chase after Verstappen. But that's not the McLaren way. So I don't think that changes. And we saw that with Alonso and Hamilton next to each other. They just signed a two-time champion to partner their rookie. It makes sense if you're going to ever do it and back one driver over the other. That was when it makes sense, but it alienated Alonso because they didn't. So I don't think anything changes. I think they'll still go into it and have two equal drivers as they did through last year, and as they'll continue to do so.
Yeah, I do wonder if let's just assume that one team doesn't nail the regs and run away with it, and it's fairly even. If there's more cars that can challenge this year, and we can have more than just the whatever it was, 3 winners or whatever we had last year, 4 winners maybe. If it becomes more level playing field, what that also means is you need to capitalize on the wins that you can make.
Yeah.
So if McLaren, because McLaren almost let Max in last year by being so fair and so straight down the middle, they almost kind of let Max in at the end there. But they were okay because they almost had such a big lead they could play with that, right? Be interesting to see what happens if the field comes out of the gate and everything's quite equal. It'd just be really interesting to see, because you know that other teams will automatically probably rally behind a driver over the other. So if they come out, my view would be I would have McLaren maybe down as favourites for the constructors, but I do think this year of the new regs, as long as one team doesn't nail it, like McLaren, I think that might cost them in the driver's title. That would just be my view.
I'd agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I really believe that all the advantages that McLaren held last year will stay, because a lot of it was things like tyre life, suspension setup. We'll see. We just don't know. I just love that intrigue about 2026, not knowing where each of the cars will be until we get to Australia, and then Alpine are 2 seconds quicker than the next best thing. But until then, that intrigue of not knowing. But yeah, I'd go with that. The Constructors' Championship, they've got 2 great drivers, haven't they?
Exactly,
and
yes.
It seems insane but ahead of the 2025 season, there was a poll, like, who's got the best driver pairing? And Ferrari won with something like 79% of the overall vote. And you go a year later, no one's really changed too much, but would they win 79% of that vote now? And they've still got a 7-time champion in that car, and a lot of people still rate Leclerc. So it really sort of pays testament to Oscar and Lando last year, really showing that they can work together despite what all the online reviews want to say about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's McLaren last year were a perfect example of when everything comes together, when you've got a great team with a great car, with 2 great drivers that can pull it all together. Polar opposite of, say, the Red Bull situation, where they had a great car and a great driver for one of them, and they kind of abandoned the other. And it's just, I think McLaren should be in a good spot next year. I do want to see others come to the forefront and challenge. Not sure it'll be Alpine being 2 seconds clear, but you never know.
That's why I'm so excited.
Could be
Cadillac.
Cadillac.
Just predicted it.
Cadillac do a Brawn, 2026 is the Cadillac Brawn GP season. They nail it.
And then disappear?
Oh no, come on.
Never say never.
Exactly. Perry, you like, in addition to Formula One, I believe you like motorsports as a whole, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I have my own podcast where it's called the Motorsport Review. I should be plugging it, shouldn't I?
Plug it.
That's what we're leading to.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm learning slowly. Yes, the Motorsport Review. I try to cover as many different motorsport series out there. I mean, one of them last year was powerboat racing. Just because why not? Someone pointed it out. It's free on YouTube. Give it a go. Just trying to cover so many different series. I mean, you guys probably watch Formula 2 or whatever on weekend. Like this weekend is the Rolex 24 Hours, and there's no Formula 1, so you might as well tune in and watch it. And that's the point of the show, is to try and put light on other series that aren't getting as much heat as Formula 1 is these days. Try and share that love around and say, give it a go.
If you want to break the states, then I've got a little inside track for you here. If you want to bring the Motorsport Review over here, is that when I was digging around the lower depths of ESPN, I must have been down to like ESPN 8 or something. I found lawnmower racing on TV. It's a real thing, right? The ride-on mowers, they strip off the blades. That's the only bit you take off. Everything else has to, as you would buy it out of the shop. And it's serious. They take it real serious. So I think lawnmower racing on the Motorsport Review would be a match made in heaven.
There you go. I'll add it to the list. And Rob, you're coming on to watch it. Brian, you're invited. If you want to give it a go, we'll sit and you can watch it for the first time. I'll watch it for the first time. Rob will be our resident expert. Racing.
I did actually mow a track in the autumn one year. I mowed a track into the leaves in my house and did a fastest lap around my house. So I got some form.
Yeah. But yeah, you just reviewed and talked about Dakar, and so I wanted to publicize the motorsport review. I also enjoy things like that. I like just whether it's boat racing or the 24 hours you reference. My neighbor down the street went down to watch the 24 hours, and he kept sending me notes. He said, "Hey, can I come kidnap you and bring you along?" Which obviously he didn't actually invite me. Drew, that was an unvite. If you're listening, he doesn't listen that often.
That's just mean.
That is mean. He the day before he's leaving, he's like, "You coming along?" I'm like, "Did we talk about this?" So that was an unvite. But again, I'm with you. Like, there's so many good opportunities. So if you're interested in learning more about non-F1 things, I recommend Perry's podcast and checking that out. Back to F1. So if you had to kind of highlight, and again, I'm a McLaren guy, so feel free to give a McLaren answer or not. In the last decade or so, what's been sort of one of your favorite memories? One of the things, and again, interpret favorite however you like. It can be positive, wild, something that sticks out from the last 10 years or so about F1 that you really would tell a new fan to go check out.
I mean, the personal answer changes depending on if I'm saying go and check it out. For me personally, I went to an event in Manchester to watch the British Grand Prix with OKX. So people were invited. I think it was even free entry, and just sitting watching motorsport with like-minded people. This was 2023. Was just a brilliant experience. Anyway, a lot of McLaren fans there, but other people, even though it was a McLaren event, wearing like Red Bull, Aston Martin, Ferrari stuff, they were allowed in as well. I mean, okay. But then it was the first race where McLaren just suddenly showed up. They had this update in Austria. They sort of showed signs, but then suddenly we were like qualifying second and third, I think. And then we jumped Verstappen at the start. And I remember sat there next to a friend going, "Is this happen? Is this really happening?" So that was my favorite memory. But in terms of saying to someone, go and watch this moment, of recent memory would be Monza 2021 for, again, the same sort of thing. Like, this was the big Verstappen versus Hamilton year. No one was getting a look in right up until McLaren went and got a 1-2 from a team where, a few years before we were absolutely exuberantly happy if two cars started the race.
Right.
To then suddenly have two cars finish the race first and second was just elation. I think there was a couple of brilliant Monza years in a row. I think 2020 was a really good year.
Yeah, it wasn't 2020 when Pierre won and Carlos was chasing him down. I may have that wrong.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's spot on. Yeah, because that was almost the McLaren rival, and we were like, damn, we finished second, and again had to say to ourselves, look, can't be unhappy with second. We were happy to be starting the race. So yeah, Monza 2021 for just sticking out as like this completely balmy result. It was the only 1-2 of the season. Again, when you're thinking of how many wins Verstappen and Hamilton racked up, and they just needed a Bottas and a Perez, as it was, just to finish second to create that 1-2. McLaren were the only team to do it. So a bit of McLaren bias there, I think.
Yeah,
it's allowed.
It's small. It's allowed. It's allowed.
Yeah, totally.
I've been accused of being slightly more biased towards McLaren, but I don't know where that comes from.
Totally unfounded.
Well, I'm completely neutral.
With time being against us, I want to put you on the spot in this last couple of minutes now and say, right, come on, give us the Perry Brown bold prediction for 2026. So nothing easy straight out of the gate, just something. It can be big. Anything you like.
He said Alpine by 2 seconds in Australia.
If you want to reuse that, that's perfectly fine.
4 different teams winning races. Does that count? I think we'll get a good mix. I don't think one of them will be Red Bull.
Wow,
that
got bold at the end.
Yeah.
It was like a little spicy, a little bit of heat, and then you added that at the end. It's like, oh, I see. You went with ghost peppers. Okay, real spicy.
Yeah, biting into the sandwich. This isn't hot.
Right.
Keep going. Let him up.
Then the steam comes out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
You believe those rumours that they're struggling with the engine, and you don't think they're going to get the performance this year?
I think it's a big step. Switching, getting Ford making all the good noises, saying, look, don't judge us by our early races, but we're coming at this. I found myself, as you say, watching Daytona, Dakar with Motorsport Review. I found myself to be a bit of a secret Ford fan. I didn't know it was sort of bubbling along underneath. So seeing them join WEC and things like that, and just being really excited for this company that I didn't know about. So seeing them join Formula One, I'm also excited, but it's a much bigger step than taking your road car, putting a rear wing on it and entering it into GT3. Formula One is the pinnacle, isn't it? And to create a new engine to these new regulations and to fit it in a Formula One car where they haven't previously been, certainly I think the last time was possibly the Jordan 2005 sort of era was the last Ford engine cars. Formula One's come a long way since then, and yes, they've got the Red Bull powertrains knowledge that they've taken forward, but I just think it's a bit of a step at the moment, and they fought hard, didn't they? They brought a lot of updates in 2025.
Yeah,
I can just see them being a little bit far off at the moment. Don't rule out Max Verstappen, never rule him out, but
you just did.
Just think it's uphill. I did deny.
But Perry just so what we're gonna say is when Red Bull and Max Verstappen and Isaac don't win a race in 2026, the person who called it, Perry Brown. Perry, thank you so much for joining us.
Wait, 1 second, just before you we get to play this clip back at the end of the Australian Grand Prix as Max just won the opening race of the season.
When Isaac wins?
Yeah.
Oh, Perry.
They've won, and they've lapped everyone doing so.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate you making the time.
Thank you both for inviting me, and thank you for watching Motorsport Review. I thought I had 5 followers, but it turns out I've got at least 7 if you two join the other 5 that watch as well. So, no, thank you so much for the plug, and thank you for the invite.
No, absolutely. Good luck with that, and everyone who's listening, just go and check out Motorsport Review and turn that 7 into 70. Let's take it.
Let's do it. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Box.
And thank you again, Perry. That was brilliant. So
Amazing.
Go check out his podcast, The Motorsport Review. We will link that as well in the show notes, and see if he does ever get me on to talk about lawnmower racing. But by the way, in a non-motorsport link,
yes,
flicking through the TV channels, we were at a swim meet last weekend down in Wilton, for anybody that knows Southern Connecticut, and we found on some random channel, and I could not believe this was a real sport, professional pillow fighting.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was 2 women dressed like they were boxers in a boxing ring, but they were holding, I guess, what is there must be rules around the size and the weight and the whatever, essentially a professional pillow. Not just one off the bed, but a pillow. And they just basically had to batter each other with the pillow to see who could win. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And that's even when I've seen lawnmower racing. So, you got to love the States.
You do have to. And I also, thanks, Perry, for joining us. Really enjoyed the conversation. Really had a lot of fun. While you got on your pillow fighting, can I just also say one thing before we hit the exit button here? A year and a half ago, I got a chance to be all throughout Europe, and I had a rental hire car at times during my journey through many of the different countries I was in, and I really appreciated that, multiple lanes, people follow the left lane, fast lane, and then slower lanes to the right. And if you're dawdling in the left lane, you get the brights real quick as a car comes up behind you and you move. And I have a bit of a lead foot, so it really wasn't a problem. But occasionally someone came up behind me, especially throughout Italy, and they were rolling. And I'm on the left, and I quickly moved, and then I regained the left lane and kept going and overtook the cars to my right. I go to work in Madison a lot, Madison, Wisconsin. I live outside Chicago. And I take the less crowded expressway version, and it's 3 lanes wide, and there is always, it's such an American thing, and it drives me nuts. People go in too slow in the left lane. And I'm coming home last week on Thursday, and I'm like, you know what? I've had it. It's been a long day. It's been a long trip. We're bringing out the brights. And so I'm in my SUV, and I'm in the left lane, and I'm speeding slightly, in case law enforcement's wondering, very slightly. And I'm using the brights. And the first couple cars it worked. And then the cars that didn't, I got even more angry. And so I have to undertake. And I go around and I basically make a YouTube face like this every time I go. As I go by the car, I'm like, do you not see the brights? And so I'm doing my best as the resident American on America's leading Formula One podcast to bring the idea of flashing the brights in the left lane. And I'm going to bring this over every time I go back and forth on the 2.5 hours I drive in the left lane. A gentle ding ding, I'm here, get out of the way. And I'm estimating I'll touch, of the 330 Americans, I'll probably get to at least 12. So I'm really making a difference, one car at a time.
You're making a dent. You're doing Jeremy Clarkson's work, because that was a big bugbear of his in the UK, of guys that would not move over. Because we're too polite in the UK, I've had to learn to deal with driving in the US where you don't move out of my way instantly, fine, I'm undertaking you. And like 4 cars are all undertaking in different lanes all at the same time. And it's madness. You've got to look everywhere, right? In the UK, we wish we could do that. But what we will do is cruise up behind that one, flash the lights, and when they don't move over, despite the fact all the other lanes are completely empty, that's against the law in the UK, so we won't undertake, and we'll sit there and just vent and fume and get more angry than probably you were, and just keep flashing.
I don't really get angry. I get even. I get undertaking.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
right.
Let's close it out. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Perry, thanks for joining us. Thanks to anyone who wants to submit a Cadillac Corner jingle in advance. Please give it a shot. We look forward to talking to you in 1 week's time. Be well, everybody. Get out of the fast lane.